So we are heading off to China, where tech giants Ant Group, Tencent, and JD.com have signed the NFT Self-Regulation Convention after increasing government pressure over NFTs. So surprise, surprise, the Digital Culture and Creative Industry Self-Regulation Convention is made up of 11 principles, including ending virtual currencies and enabling the real economy. So there's a lot to unpack here. Naomi, I'm going to kick this off to you. Tell me about your initial thoughts on this convention.
I mean, there's so much in here. I'm actually going to throw this on to Zach for his take, because there's a lot going on there, and I'm not sure that I fully what's the word collected it all. But Zach, soaked in. Yeah.
I'm gonna botch a William Shakespeare quotation, and I'm gonna say
Excellent.
"A rose by any other name." Something, something. I think that was the
Would
gist of
smell
that
sweet.
one. But there it is. The theater background coming in handy. Thank you, Naomi. I appreciate you doing that. So an NFT by any other name, will it be still seen as an NFT that fosters rampant market speculation among the Chinese citizenry? I don't know. They're trying to change this thing to like digital collectibles. I've seen some other letters thrown out there as a way to appease the regulatory crackdown around these things, right? Because these big companies, they want to play in this space. They say, hey, this is a great way to provide a little bit of digital ownership for our users. And hey, our users are probably interested in this thing already. But in the meantime, there's a big crypto crackdown in China that is going to upset people. So they're trying to figure this out. It's going to be interesting to see what they come to. It seems like a bit, I don't know. It seems like a bit odd. Like I'm not exactly optimistic that this sort of slapdash rebrand is going to help these companies achieve the goals that they want to achieve in this geography that they serve. But it is interesting to see companies of this size scrambling to control the narrative and potentially get this stuff. I'm not going to call them NFTs. Get this stuff. They can just call it stuff. Digital stuff. Digital things.
Digital things.
The things. They can get the things to their customers. No big deal. So that to me is what's interesting about this. And I am going to kick it back to my Shakespeare knowing friend, Naomi.
Yes, I enter pithy Shakespeare quote to receive that, Kat. One thing I will say is that this isn't the first time I've seen kind of weird regulatory pushback happen in China. Like in the past, when you've had like different chat apps that have enabled cryptocurrency purchases, like I remember seeing tweet threads from years ago. I think like maybe CZ was involved. Don't hold me to that, but there were a bunch of people who were like, hey, can I buy crypto through XYZ chat app? And then people were like, no, absolutely not, because it is banned in China. And then a bunch of users saying, actually, I buy it through there all the time. You absolutely can. And then said CEO responding again and saying, yes, but we do not speak about that. Do not say such things out loud. So there's this kind of like, as long as we don't acknowledge it, it's not happening culture there. And I think that as long as publicly companies are seeming to toe the line and paying respect to whatever, proclamations the Communist Party have put forth, it seems that sometimes they can get away with a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if simply changing the name NFT to digital collectible becomes this sneaky way that they can avoid any pushback, because they're not involved with crypto, they're involved with digital collectibles, which also use blockchain technology and different, underlying coins to fuel the ecosystem, but they're completely different to cryptocurrency. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this stuff works for at least a long time until said company annoys the government in another way, in which case the government will turn around and say, this time you've been betraying us and going against us. We will come down on you harder. So we'll see what happens there. But there have been some weird things happening regarding regulation. I'll throw to you though, David.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there, Naomi. And I think your attribution on that Twitter exchange is correct. But the idea of like naming and what you call something is actually incredibly important in China. There is a lot of good writing going on about how Xi Jinping is running the government there. And, there's a lot of rhetorical work that goes into being an upstanding member of Chinese society these days. And I would almost say that like the subtitle to our article on this, which is something about these companies appeasing regulators doesn't even really hit the mark, because the line between who's the company and who's the regulator in China right now is getting fuzzier and fuzzier. I mean, Ant Group is on this list, and Ant Group was, formerly Jack Ma's company until they decided to just take it away from him. So he's gone, and they'll do whatever they want. I will say, one of the interesting things about this, they signed a 10-point agreement, and one of the points is a commitment to ending virtual currency. And that might be another point where there's like a terminology thing going on. But I do think it highlights that, on the other hand, to your point, Naomi, there is a seriousness to this in terms of their fear about speculation in particular. So it remains to be seen, but there is definitely some seriousness to this. Jen, do you want to chime in?
I think I saw Zach's hand up, but I could have been incorrect. Zach, did you have your hand up?
I did. I cannot tell a lie. I was just going to say there is something to be said for flying under the radar. And I think we're seeing a lot of these stories lately where flying under the radar really worked up until now. And then all of a sudden you're dealing with a $3 trillion asset class and you can no longer fly under the radar. So this to me is one of those stories flavored through the lens of China crypto crackdown. But absolutely across the industry right now, there's a lot of things that are suddenly on the radar, and we're seeing a lot of interesting things come of that. So that was all I want to say. Jen, last thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll kick it off to David. You've both David and Zach, you've made so much sense out of this to me, but I think changing it to digital collectibles doesn't take away what's actually happening. And I just see regulators coming for that a little bit further down the line. I mean, I don't have the historical context, David, like you do, but how likely is it, I know we have to move on, but maybe before you introduce your next topic, how likely is it that regulators come after these digital collectibles in months from now?
Well, again, I think Naomi hit it right on the head. Like the nice thing for the Chinese government about something like this is that you can say, like, here's a rule and you should follow the rule, but it's a rule about how you frame things. And we decide whether you're actually following the rule or not. And then we'll do what we want based on whether we like you. I mean, it's not a country subject to the rule of law, basically, is what it boils down to at the end of the day.